Sào Soulez Larivière, good morning.
Morning.
Welcome to the Classeek Ambassador Program and welcome to Aubonne in Switzerland, which is the home of the Classeek program. It's great to meet in real life.
Absolutely, yeah. We had a Zoom meeting last week and yeah, nice to meet finally in person. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here in beautiful Aubonne. And yeah, thank you to the Classeek team and thank you to you for hosting me today.
Pleasure,
yeah.
Great pleasure. Tonight you'll be performing your concert recital here in this space as part of the Classeek Ambassador Program. You're performing a concert actually in recital with another Ambassador Program alumnus, Martina Consoni. So we have this wonderful retour, a reunification of the Ambassador Program and the caliber of the artists that are taking place. So I'd like to explore in a little bit more detail about how you've come to the Classeek Ambassador Program. We're very proud to be partnered with the International Classical Music Awards, or ICMA, which is an annual award recognizing recordings, artists, ensembles in the classical music sector. And congratulations, you were awarded Young Artist of the Year at last year's award, which brought you here. Could you tell us a little bit more about your involvement or how they came to award you?
I mean, first of all, I would love to say again how grateful I am to the ICMA and to Classeek for bringing me here and bring us together. And yeah, it's I think a great affirmation of what I'm doing. I think as a young musician, still kind of carving my own path through this big world. And yeah, it's a huge privilege to have been nominated as a young artist. And yeah, very grateful to the whole team at ICMA and Rémi Franck for having put that trust in me. And I think
it came about through a recording.
Exactly. So I released a CD back in 21, I think it was, and through that I got some reviews, I think, from the jury members that are on the ICMA, and I think that's how it kind of came about. And then we celebrated through a wonderful gala concert in last year in Poland.
Yes.
Which was such a great kind of festival of creativity, of music, and to see it was just amazing to see just what kind of music there is out there, and what kind of excellence there is out there, and yeah.
Well, we're delighted that the things have fallen the way they have fallen, and that you are now sitting here in Aubonne in Switzerland as part of the Ambassador Program.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue with your background because your story is really fascinating. You're a violist, but viola wasn't your first choice.
No. It was. I studied with the violin when I was quite young. I have an older sister, Cosima, who's also a violinist. So that's how it came about. We kind of both grew up playing the violin together. Yeah. And then we went to study at the Menuhin School in the UK, where we spent quite a number of years there together, which was a very, very special place for sure. And that's where I found my love for the viola, because actually there wasn't really a viola department in the school, so a lot of violins were kind of recommended or kind of forced, encouraged to play the viola in chamber music and orchestra. And for me, at least, it was not something I immediately took to. It was a bit of a struggle. Not I think the instrument as well is just it's a heavy instrument. You have to learn a new clef. There's a whole number of things you have to just learn in that sense. And I was very kind of set in my violin ways. It's kind of one route only. And I think what the viola did is just kind of opened my eyes to what is out there, I think, in music, and I think just the beauty of what music has to,
the sound,
give.
the particular, and the role it plays in music making,
Exactly.
particularly in chamber music, which you're very passionate about.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're slightly younger than your sister, but you both went to the Menuhin School in the UK, and we should say a little more about that type of education, because it's not the standard path for most classical musicians. It's a very special place.
Absolutely.
And you went there at a very young age. Tell us a little about
I think
the
it was
experience.
Yeah, exactly. It was founded by Udi Menuhin, the world-renowned violinist of 20th century,
and very well known to this region of Switzerland.
Exactly. And I think he was a child prodigy, and was already touring the world from a very young age, you know. And I think he always dreamt to have, or to set up a safe kind of haven for young musicians to practice their art in a calm environment, without distraction from the outside world. And he found this beautiful location just outside of London. I think that was, I forgot exactly the date when it was founded, I think maybe in the 60s. And it was quite, I mean, it stays with me, it's more than a memorable experience. I think it was very much my childhood. I was there from 8 till 18. And, you know, it's a very tight-knit community, only, 60 or odd students. So you really get to create these lasting relationships with people, and lasting friendships. And for sure, it's also crazy that all of these kids are there for one sole purpose, and that is to make music and to learn music. And I don't know, it's almost like a Hogwarts of classical music, if you could call it that. I don't know, it's I just have a wonderful memory of it.
Because this is a large amount of your life, actually.
Pretty much.
Committed with a focus and a space to create music as a priority. I'm interested because you and your sister were born in Paris and grew up in Paris, but your accent and your capacity for English is now very clear as a result of spending all that time. But for your parents to send, both of you to a London school of this nature is a sign of great commitment, and support, and belief.
I think it also there is some sacrifice there as well. I think it's a big kind of decision to send your kid off, not only to a school but to a specialist school, and kind of because at 8 or whatever age that you come, I don't think you know exactly what you want with your life, and to kind of live and breathe music every day for these number of years. I think of course it brings so much to your life, but in the end, who knows if you'll keep with it after school. And I mean, in my case, I was just lucky enough that I don't know, music has stayed my passion, my life, But in that sense, I don't think it was too difficult to go to the school. I mean, because my sister was already there, and I know, I think for a lot of other kids, who were coming from Japan or Brazil or anywhere, I think that was probably a lot tougher because they're a lot further away from home.
Sure.
So in that sense, it felt like home already for me, at least from the beginning.
Cosima had carved the way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you very much to her. And your commitment to the viola has stayed, flourished, grown enormously. And I want to congratulate you on what has happened post Menuhin School, because you have a number of laureate achievements at major competitions, including in Tokyo, but of course then you won first prize at the Prague International Music Competition, which is a favourite of mine and a very well-regarded and great heritage competition. Congratulations on the first prize.
Thank you.
How was it sort of leaving this, safe space, this Menuhin special
Yeah.
environment,
Yeah.
and then stepping into this, I guess, more traditional, competitive, classical
Yeah, it was.
world.
Not
for
gonna
you.
lie, it was a bit of shock, I think, to kind of go out in the open world.
Yes.
After all these years, to be in the big city, because I moved to Berlin straight after, and Berlin, of course, is a bustling place culturally, definitely. A lot of musicians are based there nowadays.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't know, it just took a lot of kind of adjusting to, I think, to kind of find my own path, through all of this hustle and bustle. And yeah, and in terms of the competitions, I think that was always something I wanted to challenge myself with. I think it's kind of
For your own development.
exactly. it's one of those realities of our kind of classical music world.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have so much to do with music, but it's as I said, it's a reality, and it's a way, I think, of kind of finding your own voice, I think, in music. Because in
And
the end,
meeting very helpful people.
absolutely. Because I mean, it's not only a challenge in terms of learning the repertoire and putting yourself under so much pressure. I think it's also just finding a way to express yourself on a larger stage. Because I think it's difficult to kind of establish yourself as a young musician, and that's what I really cherish about these competitions. Is that it gives you a platform to share your music and your emotions and your music.
You've made the most of these opportunities, because when we were speaking last week, you mentioned that you have some concerti coming up later this year.
Yeah.
And these in Japan and in back in Prague, as direct results of your competition success.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about your the Japan program that you have
so that's
coming up? I think this is really interesting.
super exciting. I mean, they have this viola festival that they've set up, and it's a really kind of great celebration of the instrument. So I think every 3 years, I think that's right, they have a competition, and on the off years, let's just say, they run the viola festivals, which is, I think, so great to promote not only the instrument but also the music, because I think the viola itself, it's still somewhat of a niche still in our classical music world, and it's just amazing to be able to showcase the beauty that there is in the repertoire. And so I'm really excited to go back and play some wonderful music, and I'm also discovering a new concerto for viola by Kenji Sakai. I think it's called Historia. Very phantasm kind of concerto, very wild and intense, and it's just been a lot of fun to learn it, and I can't wait to do it with orchestra later this year.
This is what can happen, and this is the point of the Classeek Ambassador program is introductions to further opportunities, and I know that Nabucco is an important mentor to you.
Absolutely.
As a result of the competition.
Yeah.
Let's talk about mentors closer to home, where you are. You're still based in Berlin, but you're attached and studying at the Kronberg Academy.
Exactly.
Where many of the ambassador program artists have spent time. A lot is happening in Berlin and in Kronberg at the moment. You talked with me about one of your idols, one of your mentors. Can you talk about
absolutely
a little bit further about who you follow, why you need role models to inspire you?
So one of my big role models is my professor, Tabea Zimmermann, one of the giants of the viola, I think, in our time today. And I mean, I think it was always a dream for me to go and study with her. Yeah. As you know, when I started to kind of delve into the world of viola, And I was lucky enough to enter into her class in Berlin, and then follow her in Kronberg.
At the Eisler.
At the Eisler,
Yeah.
exactly, Hochschule, and then later in Kronberg. And yeah, it's hugely important, I think, to have role models, people to look up to, people who inspire you, and show you a new way, I think, of looking at things. And I think that's certainly what she gave to me through all these years. And I think in the end, what stays, I think, the most with me is the message of all, the idea of staying true to yourself, which I think is the most important, kind of not looking too much left and right, but, you know, in the end, kind of, yeah, staying true to yourself and
true to yourself musically, or
as a person and a musician, I think, which is, I think they go hand in hand, you know. In the end, you know, when you perform, you're kind of expressing your life experiences on stage, you know, so, yeah.
We think of the viola, and chamber music always comes to mind first and foremost. You know, the string quartet format, all of these formats that require and celebrate viola, include viola. You perform with your sister, you perform with colleagues. I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about the balance, or where you want to see yourself, what types of programs really interest you. I know you have these concerti, you have chamber ensemble performances. What's your artistic, what do you get the most enjoyment from in terms of programming or
I think, there's, I often get asked the question, what is your dream as a musician? And
there we go.
And I always have a hard time kind of pinpointing exactly what my dream is, I think. And I always kind of answer by saying, you know, my dream is just to do exactly what I'm doing now, but just to continue to do what I do now. And I think that's what I love about what I do now is that I have my voice through the viola, and that I'm able to share music and share that with people and share connection with people. And I think that's for me what is the most important, and that's what I discovered through the viola. I think, you know, chamber music is at the core of the instrument, and I think to share music, to share experiences with other people is really at the core value of who I want to be, I think, as well as a musician. You know, and whether that be performing on stage just solo with an audience, or jam music, or in whatever capacity, I think jam music is always at the core of this, is to be able to communicate with people.
Completely. I could not agree more, and we're looking forward to hearing you with Martina tonight, and especially having heard her in a different capacity, it will be really interesting to see the dynamic that you forged. Let's come to the program for tonight, because it's a wonderful balance. It's a wonderful mix between, you know, recent or contemporary work and solid solid repertoire. Let's talk first about, I'm really intrigued by the Brahms, because tonight you're actually playing the Brahms, a violin sonata.
Exactly, yeah.
For viola, and tell me how you're approaching this this concept. Well, perhaps explain why it's on the program, and then how you're tackling that.
So I mean, with the Brahms violin sonata, I mean, of course, we have the two great viola sonatas, or originally clarinet sonatas, beautiful pieces, you know. But I think as a violist, you hear that, I think, countless times, and I think after some time I was kind of intrigued to see what else Brahms had, you know, that could be played on the viola, and I came across this sonata, which I never actually played on the violin, so it was so nice to be able to discover it through another instrument. And yeah, I mean, also as a violist, I think inherently, you know, we don't have as large a catalogue of repertoire as that of the violin or cello. So I think immediately you have to be a lot more kind of forward thinking with the instrument in terms of, you know, what repertoire you
Or
discover.
proactive or curious.
Exactly.
I come back to, you mentioned Hogwarts before.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
This
exactly.
idea
Yeah,
of
yeah.
you in this library
Absolutely.
playing with
Yeah.
possibilities.
Yeah. And I think that's also what is amazing about this instrument, that it kind of offers you to be a lot more creative.
Yeah.
Whether that is arranging or commissioning or discovering new contemporary music or all of the above. And that's something I love to do with the viola. And for sure, the Brahms, I think, has been already played a couple times on the viola, so it's nothing new in that sense. But at least when I come to arranging music, I try to kind of do it myself first to see what I can kind of figure out of the music, what direction I can take with the music. Because of course, with this sonata, the violin sonata, you have to kind of make a few adjustments to it. You can't go all the way up too high on the viola, because otherwise it doesn't sound as brilliant. But yeah, and so that's how I came about, choosing the sonata. And yeah, and I thought it kind of fit well to the program tonight. We have also Schumann, Märchenbilder, and we also have Avropet, Fratres. It's a very, I think, intimate program, a very introvert program as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very delicate, and I think there's a lot of reflection in it, which I don't know. I adore this side of the viola, that I can kind of transmit those emotions.
And it suits this particular atmosphere today.
Absolutely,
as we were describing.
absolutely. Yeah, we have the rain, coming in, which is perfect for the Regen sonata. So there's a lot of nostalgia and melancholy tonight.
But I'm really intrigued, because from what we've discussed, you're actually performing directly from the Brahms violin sonata score.
Yeah.
And making, your interpretation as we move through.
Exactly. I think, or any piece of music, I think, whether it be, figuring out how to transcribe it, how to arrange it for the instrument, or, what fingerings to use. I tried to kind of limit that as little as possible, because I want to always be coming to a piece of music with a certain kind of freshness, a certain spontaneity to it. And I think that also is a lot what happens on stage, is that, everything is in the moment. You're sharing the music in the moment with your audience, and that's what I love about that.
We touched on that. You also listen to jazz, and you listen to other genres. Is this part of the perhaps?
Absolutely.
Part of the being in the experience, being in the time, being of course honouring what has gone before, honouring the Brahms score, but this sort of active act of interpreting. It's
for sure a question I've asked myself a lot, what kind of musician I am, and a big part of what I do is interpretation. I take the music of these great composers and interpret that through myself, through the time, through the space, through the audience, and it's all, as I said, very much in the moment. But I also, at some point, I also thought maybe it was also somewhat limiting, to always be kind of stuck, to the borders of the ink on paper, in that sense. And I think that's where where I seek inspiration from other genres of music. At home I listen to a lot more of different genres of music. I mean, I barely listen to classical, actually. I think classical is already kind of takes up most of my day anyway.
It's already there.
Yeah, exactly.
You're full.
Yeah.
The tank is full.
Yeah,
already.
exactly. Yeah. And so I love, listen to any types of genre. I mean, jazz is certainly a big kind of type of music I listen a lot to, and I love sense of freedom, I think, you can find in jazz. Of course, there's a lot of rules as well. Not to say that it's all just kind of a free-for-all either, but and I think it's certainly something I want to bring to my kind of art of making music, the sense of finding freedom in the borders. Yeah.
I like that very much, and it makes me automatically think of Menuhin's own work and career and values, and himself tapping into other forms, genres.
Yeah. He was already, I mean, so forward-thinking, you know, and I have so much inspiration from him, you know, in terms of his partnerships with Ravi Shankar in India, or Stephen Grappelli, you know.
Absolutely.
And these timeless recordings that they made together. I mean, it's in that sense, he was really, as I said, forward-thinking, a world person, and I think that's what I think we need a lot more of in our days
Good
today.
international citizenship.
Yeah.
And do you think this was passed? I mean, this must have been passed in the sort of DNA of the school.
Absolutely, I think I mean, already it being so international, you're already exposed to so many different cultures, so many different languages as well. Yeah. English was, I mean, you know, of course, always spoken, but you know, it was sometimes difficult to kind of communicate with people who didn't know it as much.
Sure.
And I think also that kind of taps into my background as well. I'm born in Paris. Yeah. I have Dutch also mother, a French father, and now living in Germany, working in Austria. So it's just a really big kind of like a mix of everything. But I love that, you know, not to be kind of fixed to one place, but to be able to adapt, I think.
Well, your life is full of trains at the moment, because you're also teaching in Salzburg at the Mozarteum, which is obviously bringing or adding to your not only your life and what you do, but I'm sure informing and adding value to your artistic interpretation work and network of opportunities.
Absolutely.
Is teaching something you wanted to do, or is it something like, how does you've got a certain amount of time to do all of these activities? Why did you?
I mean, to be honest, the job itself came, you know, as by anything, it's always a lot of luck, a lot of chance.
Hard work.
Well, hard work
behind
the
scenes.
Sure. But I think teaching for sure has always been something I was keen, or interested, or wanted to have in my life. You know, to pass on what I've learned to a younger generation, and that's something I kind of started to think about during my time at the Minion School. I remember there was this one concert, I think it was during my last few years there, and there was a small kid kind of warming up, didn't really know how to warm up before a concert, and he was playing a very kind of fiendishly difficult piece. And then I just sat down with him, and we kind of just started working just together and slow, and it was just really gratifying to see that I kind of somehow inspired or was involved in the performance of his, and that sense of helping, of sharing information has always been something that I hold dear to myself. And again, also it's a lot to do with chamber music as well, you know, your communication, you know, and how to find a way to better communicate, to express what you want to say in a positive and motivating way as possible. And it's a hard, it's a difficult job as well, you know, because you have to be very adaptable to. You have to be very every student is unique, and you have to tap into each one's kind of psyche almost a little bit, just to see what clicks, you know, what you can, what best way you can find to achieve the goal that you want together.
It's a very good point. I mean, it's similar to the ambassador program of Classeek. Each artist that comes here has a particular vision, particular stage, particular instrument, particular commitment to making music. I'm really intrigued with your stepping into and curiosity for other genres. Are you performing in other contexts? Or are you performing any?
Only in the safe confines of my practice room.
Okay.
At the moment.
Okay.
For now. I think I love to dabble. I love to improvise.
Yeah.
And it's something that I really want to bring, I think, more, or have more in my musical life. As I said, I love listening to jazz. I mean, and there's also one particular artist which I seek a lot of inspiration from, Jacob Collier.
Yes.
In terms of not only, you know, his incredible music,
Yeah.
but in terms of how he's able to connect with an audience.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I'm sure you've seen his audience choir, where he sings with an audience. I think that's just so beautiful. It's so human, you know, so honest. To be able to share that, you know, with people, you know, that you don't necessarily know, but you're there together as one. And I think that's what is, most special.
And it's essential.
Yeah.
For now, you're at Kronberg.
Mm.
You have concerti planned. You have chamber concerts and so forth. What happens after Kronberg? What happens when you're...
Yeah, I don't want to think about that too much, to be honest. I'm still kind of like hanging on to my kind of young years as much as I can. But of course, I mean, it's such a privilege to be able to study still, and at such an amazing institution.
Yes.
In some ways, I kind of see it almost like a Menuhin School 2.0.
Yeah.
Just because it's also a very kind of secluded, beautiful place, you know, just outside of a big city.
Correct.
And you know, also just string instruments as well. So I see a lot of similarities between the two, which is nice. But yeah, as I said, it's a big privilege to be able to study and also to teach at the same time. I think it's kind of, they throw off each other a lot, which is, I'm learning in both capacities in that sense. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that Raymond and everyone at the Kronberg Academy would be honoured for it to be called Menuhin 2.0, and we can share that privately later with you. But I really want to thank you, because your values of education, knowledge, self-development, sharing your music making with different partners, different places, I think it's the future. And
absolutely.
And we're really looking forward to hearing you tonight.
Looking forward to
with Martina and the other pair, the Brahms and the Schumann. As you can guess, I'm particularly interested in your Brahms performance. But we're delighted of the partnership with the International Classical Music Awards for bringing you to Switzerland and the Ambassador Program. And we wish you all the very, very best for a very filled career.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
Pleasure.